Oops, am I on? Okay, hello. I am coming to you live for the first time. I've never done a live stream before. I have no idea how this works, if anyone will see this, what will happen after I stop the video, how much of my internet this video will eat up, but I thought it might be an interesting thing to try. So I'm not sure if you're getting any notification that I actually am live. It's all new to me, but as we are entering this new phase here of life, shall we say, this life in quarantine, in staying at home, trying to social distance, I am very far away from anybody, as you can see. I'm in the Piazza of San Francesco. There's the lovely Basilica of San Francesco here in Siena. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anna Piperato, or should I say Anna Piperato? It sounds much nicer in Italian, but I love my name in English as well, Anna Piperato. And I am a local guide here in Siena. I am a licensed guide in Italy, and I work for Rick Steves. I work for myself. I'm an independent contractor, and like all independent contractors who are also tour guides, I am completely out of work while this COVID-19 crisis is occurring. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to learn how to social media and how to make videos. So I've made quite a few videos. I started a YouTube channel, just YouTube SienaItalyTours, all one word, and trying to ramp up my website a little bit and figure out how to make a living in this time of COVID-19. Of course, the world has changed and will change, so I thought maybe it might be nice just for you to walk around with me in my adopted city of Siena. So this is the Church of San Francesco, the church dedicated to Saint Francis of Assisi. He was a 13th century saint and, of course, the founder of the Franciscan order. There are some people around me, don't worry, they're keeping their distance. And I hope you notice that in this video and others, if you see images of Italy, everyone is wearing their masks because it's required. We have to protect ourselves and each other, most importantly. I do have an update though. Today is the 13th of May, and the 18th is when another part of phase 2 will come into effect, and it looks as if from May 18th we can actually start to see people. Something's happening here. You can turn on cellular data for this app in settings. I have no idea what's happening here. As I say, this is all new to me. But from the 18th of May, perhaps we can start to see not just family members, but also friends who live within our town. As you know, I live here on my own, and when phase 2 entered on May 4th, you were allowed to start visiting family members, close family members or boyfriends and girlfriends, fiancés, things like that, if you didn't live together. That is not my case, but maybe from the 18th of May, I can start to see some friends, of course, 6 feet apart from them, but perhaps I can finally share that birthday toast with a proper person. Until then, I'm going to remain the age that I am. I'm going to stay 40 until I can cheers 41 with somebody else. These pigeons are not practicing social distancing. You're a bit close there, pigeons. I have no food for you. What else? So yes, 18th of May, there might also be some museums that reopen, but we're not sure because there's no money coming in for tourism. Now, if you've been to Italy, you'll know that you have to pay a city tax, and that city tax of €1.50, €4.50, depending per night, that money goes to the local government, and it helps to pay for things like state-funded operations like museums and things like that. And right now, with no money coming in at all, no city tax, no revenue being generated at all, even by tour buses coming into cities, we're all strapped for cash, and so museums might not be able to open, not just for safety reasons, but because they can't afford to pay their workers. So it's a really difficult situation. Italy is a country, as you know, that houses a huge collection of humanity, of the history of art and culture, and 13% of the GDP is directly related to tourism. So it's a huge part of the national economy that unfortunately is now, it's really been halted completely, and there's no sign of picking up again. The next phase, perhaps, shall we say, we're still in phase 2, but the next idea might be to allow or to advertise, to promote traveling within one's region. In Italy, there are 20 regions, including the island of Sardinia. I see Daniela. Ciao, Daniela. Sardinia and Sicily, those are both regions. I am in the region of Tuscany right now. The city of Siena is in the region of Tuscany. The capital of Tuscany is Florence. But as it were, right now, I couldn't go to Livorno to see Karen Kibbe, who's watching. Hello. I couldn't go there to see her because we're not in the same province, we're in the same region. So maybe after the 18th of May or maybe after the 1st of June, there will be some travel within the same region available. But right now, we're all kind of stuck at home. I haven't got a car, but I've got my feet, so I'm quite fine just walking around town and getting to know my city even better. So I think it might be nice to have a little walk. I'll just show you this wonderful piazza here, now glorified parking lot, but the Church of San Francesco and the oratory right there of San Bernardino. Ciao! Ciao to everyone. Thank you so much for watching. The Oratory of San Bernardino, and I'm hoping I can get my act together and do a video on the saint, San Bernardino, Saint Bernardine of Siena. Many of you will have heard of San Bernardino, the town in California. Of course, you have San Francisco, Saint Francis, Santa Clara, Saint Clare of Assisi. She founded the female order of the Franciscans, and San Bernardino, a great 15th century Franciscan friar and orator. Okay, so let's have a little walk here. I'm in between two contrade. Pigeons, sorry. I'm in between the contrada of the brujo, the caterpillar, and the giraffa, the giraffe. Have fun at Pilates, do some exercise for me. This is my daily exercise now. I'm walking away from the Church of San Francesco, and I think I'll walk down Baroncelli, yes, Via Baroncelli, into the Giraffa. Now in Siena we have 17 contrade, or districts, or I prefer the term city-state, because within the city walls of Siena there are these 17 city-states, each with their own distinct board of government, their own elections, their own constitutions even. And I'm a member of the She-Wolf Contrada, but all 17 are beautiful and unique. And the Giraffa might be one of my favorite of these contrade, just because look at these streets. I mean, when you think of medieval Italy, you think of streets just like this. I mean, I'm going to turn around here so you can see this marvelous street. That's quite a steep hill here. We don't need gyms in Siena, we have the city. And you can't make it out, but please trust me, the Torre del Mangia is back there as well. Every contrada, hello Michigan, oh Stacy, ciao ciao. Every contrada has their symbol, and they have their ancient trade as well. And I see that Stacy Gibboni, a wonderful tour guide and artist, up in a fellow American but living in Venice. Stacy, I am right now in the contrada whose ancient trade was painting. So the Giraffini are known as painters. So there's lots of artists here. And let's see, I'll go to Provenzano, why not? So the contrade, I'm going to try and stay away from these people as I walk by them, all wearing their masks. Buonasera. Walking down to the Church of Provenzano, and here you can see that there's a flag. That red and white flag up there is the flag of the Giraffa. Every contrada has their own colors as well. Some have 2, some have 3, and one has 4 colors. The colors of the Lupa are black, white, and orange, but I am in giraffe territory now. I'm coming behind the Church of Provenzano, Santa Maria in Provenzano, which is a magnificent basilica that was built in the 17th century mostly, and it was a church that holds a very special meaning to the Sienese, because every 2nd of July we run the Palio. So there are 2 Palio races, these horse races that are between the various contrade, and on the 2nd of July and the 16th of August there are 10 horses in the central piazza of Siena, and in about a minute and 20 seconds a horse race is run and history is made. The 2nd of July, Palio is dedicated to Santa Maria di Provenzano. And this is the Provenzano Basilica. You can see it's absolutely enormous. And the church is dedicated to a rather particular miracle. So some of you might know that Siena was a republic. It was one of the great republics of Tuscany along with Florence, and it was completely independent. But Florence always wanted to have control of Siena. Now, why was that? Siena is not on the coast like Livorno or Pisa, and it's not along the river Arno like Pisa or Florence. It has a system of underground aqueducts to bring water to the city. But why would it be so important? Why would someone like Florence want to have control of this city south of it? Because it was along, there's a car trying to park here, it was along a road called the Via Francigena. And the Via Francigena, hello from San Diego! The Via Francigena was a pilgrimage route, and pilgrims would make their way all the way from Canterbury, down through France, through Italy, the peninsula of Italy, and they would pass right through Siena on their way to Rome, and then perhaps to the Holy Land, to Jerusalem. So Siena became a really important stopping over point for pilgrims. And this road, the Via Francigena, was then maintained and protected. And so if you have a road that is safe for pilgrims, it might also be safe for merchants and traders. And so Siena became incredibly rich. It became a city where wonderful gold and silver threads would come through. You would have these magnificent pigments and tapestries and material from all over the world. And so Florence wanted a piece of that action. Florence was a city known for its fabrics as well, very important in the wool trade. They made paper, but they wanted Siena as well. Now, in the 16th century, there was a series of incredibly ferocious wars for ciao Marco! Incredibly ferocious wars for the control of Siena. We call these le guerre di Siena. And in the 16th century, it all culminated in 1555 when Florence was finally able to take over Siena. However, during these occupation years, shall we say, there were Spanish soldiers who are on the side of the Florentines, and just, well, you can't see here, but if you look up that road, well, why don't we walk there together? There is an image of the Madonna di Provenzano. Hello! And there was a Spanish soldier who was doing some target practice, and he decided that he would shoot his crossbow at a little image of the Virgin and Child. And the Virgin Mary is the protectress of the city of Siena. The city of Siena has been dedicated to the Virgin Mary since 1260 in that glorious Battle of Montaperti, where the Sienese defeated the Florentines. Oh, it's hard to talk when you're going up hills. And as this Spanish soldier was doing some target practice, oops, I'm not sure if you can see, up there, there is the bust of the Virgin. He shot this terracotta image and broke it, but a portion of the Virgin Mary survived, and the arrow came back and shot the soldier. So this miracle at Provenzano, because this is the area of Provenzano, is a particularly Sienese miracle, and it represents that fierce, independent nature of the Sienese and the favor that the Virgin showed to the city, her city of Siena. So, oh, hello, Port Jefferson, New York. Thank you, Diana. It's so nice to see you and just feel that I'm kind of talking with someone, not just by myself. Sorry for the construction in the background, but I'm actually not sorry to hear the sounds of people working again, because it means that the city is coming back to life. Unfortunately, bars and restaurants are closed, but you can have takeaway service. Maybe from the 18th, some will be able to reopen, and we're really hoping that by the 1st of June, we can go to restaurants, but we have to sit 6 feet away from the closest patron. Here's another view of the Church of Provenzano. So I basically just did a loop. You can see how huge this basilica is. Ciao, Sarah! That's my sister watching. I hope that Caroline and Sophie are doing well. Are the girls watching? Ciao Antonio. Antonio is my partner in crime for Palio Live. And of course, Antonio, I know that you will be watching the news tomorrow as well, because tomorrow the mayor is meeting with the 17 priori or presidents of the Contrade, because they are going to decide what's going to happen about our Palio race. I mentioned that we run on the 2nd of July, and that Palio is dedicated to this Madonna di Provenzano. And the August 16th Palio is run in honor of the Virgin Mary again, but the Madonna of the Assumption. There was an idea to postpone the Palio races from July and August to August and September. However, with all of this COVID-19 business going on, it doesn't seem likely, hi Shinta, it doesn't seem likely that we will be able to run a Palio race at all. There is the hope, but we will find out tomorrow for sure. In Italy, all sporting events have been cancelled to the public. Maybe some soccer and basketball games can take place, but within a closed stadium, as it were, no spectators. So will Siena be able to have something like a Palio race? You can't have a Palio race with no spectators, because the whole point is to be together and, people are looking at me funny, is to be together and cheer on your Contrada, because it's not a sporting event. Those of you who know me, who have followed Palio Live and Place to Be Siena, if you know anything about the Palio of Siena, it is not a typical sporting event. It is a social activity. It is civic pride at its absolute greatest. And to have just 10 horses running around the piazza with no spectators would be worse than not running it at all. So tomorrow we will find out what the mayor and the captains of the Contrade and the presidents of the Contrade decide about our Palio race. I don't know what to say other than we hope something nice will happen, but 2020 is looking to be a year not to be forgotten, just to be thought of differently, shall we say, in the history books. So now I'm walking along the road called Salustio Bandini. Salustio Bandini, a really interesting character, because he donated his entire personal library to the Library of Siena. And Siena's library, for those of you librarians out there, or historians of libraries, should know his name indeed. I'd like to show you one of my favorite, well, I love all the Contrade. Of course, my favorite is the Lupa, because I'm biased. But if I come up this wonderful, come through this archway here, I come into a nice quiet area, which is the headquarters of the Civetta, the Little Owl Contrada. Every Contrada has its own colors, as I've said, and every Contrada has its own symbol. And it has its own museum. And can you see this wonderful, I love this, there's graphic designers out there. It's a symbol of an owl and the colors of black, white, and red. I'm in the heart of the Civetta. That is the museum. Behind me, behind that little teeny truck, is the stable. There are 17 stables for horses here in the city of Siena. In a medieval city, twice a year for 8 days, we have horses going throughout these wonderful streets made of pietra serena, or gray sandstone. Every Contrada also has a fountain, and you are baptized into your Contrada. Oh, ciao, Richard! If you can see behind me, there is a pole, and at the top of this pole, I'm not sure if you can tell, but trust me, it's an owl. Every Contrada has a fountain, inside of which, not inside of which, but the water from which is used to baptize the members of each Contrada. So once a year the water runs, and on the feast day, the patron saint of each Contrada has every Contrada has a patron saint. You are baptized in a lay ritual into the Contrada. It's not a religious baptism, but a lay baptism. So I have been baptized into the she-wolf. Many people here might baptize their children into a Contrada, but not into the church. It's a very interesting relationship here, the sacred and the profane. They'll celebrate the patron saint, but they won't go to church. And now I'm walking out of this area of the Little Owl. And I just want to take you to the Campo, where the magic happens. It's the most, okay, I'm totally biased here, but it's the most beautiful piazza in all of Italy. It really is the center of the city of Siena, both geographically, because if you look at a map of Siena, it's right in the middle, and it's also the heart of the government because the town hall is there, but it's the heart of the city. Everything happens in the campo, the Piazza del Campo. You just say, ci vediamo in piazza, I'll see you in the piazza. So as I walk down these lovely medieval streets, and on this bit of an overcast day today, ooh, lots of people about. See, some bars are open now for takeaway coffee. Everyone's wearing their mask. Again, I'm very impressed. You do see some people wearing the masks just covering their mouth and not their nose. No, non si fa così. But, you know, we're learning. In general, the Sienese have been very, very respectful of each other. We've been very good at social distancing because, again, it's not about just protecting your health, but it's about protecting the health of your neighbor, of your friend's grandmother, etc. And now, this view never gets old. I'm in Piazza del Campo. There is our town hall with our magnificent Torre del Mangia. Those of you who have been to Provincetown, Massachusetts might recognize it because we have an exact copy of just the tower in P-Town, that it would be the very point of the arm of Cape Cod. We have a copy of the Torre del Mangia and we call it the Pilgrims Tower. If you were watching earlier, you'll remember that Siena was a city that really made a lot of its wealth from pilgrims. So it makes sense that Massachusetts, where the Pilgrims landed in 1620, they have a tower dedicated to pilgrims, and they use the design based off of a pilgrim city. Lots of people around with their mothers. See, there's a nose exposed behind me. I don't want to shame. And here is the Piazza del Campo with that beautiful herringbone brick pattern. You can see the Fonte Gaia, the fountain of joy behind me. And you can see the difference of the stones as well. We have the gray Pietra Serena and then the brick in the center. There are 9 spokes in the Piazza del Campo to represent Siena's golden age, which was 1287 to 1355 under the government of the 9, il governo dei 9, when Siena was at its political, economic, and artistic height. So can you see that there are 9, I'm not sure if you can see, but just trust me, there are 9 divisions to the Piazza del Campo. That beautiful chapel of the town hall was made for the Virgin Mary after the 1348 plague, the bubonic plague, the Black Death, one of the most famous plagues in history. COVID-19 of 2020 might be up there in the top 10 plagues of human history, unfortunately, because it's changing everything. If you think about plagues, of course, they happen all throughout human history, but the 1348 plague was especially devastating because it covered such a huge amount of ground. All of Europe was affected by the Black Death of 1348, and it really changed everything in terms of economics, traveling, the political situation. When you have something that is so devastating like a worldwide plague, which is what we are living right now, things have to change. Ciao Andrea, ciao Veronica. So what's going to happen in 2020? Will people be studying us in the year 2000? 120? Yikes. What will they say about this? Because things are going to change artistically, politically, economically, possibly religiously, right? I mean, how did all of this happen and what can we do to make our lives better when it finally does pass? So I have no idea how much internet I'm using doing this Facebook live stream, but I thank you so much for tuning in for a few seconds or the whole time. I really appreciate it. I'm wearing a microphone, so I'm hoping that makes some sort of difference to the audio quality. I apologize for shaking, but I'm holding my selfie stick and I'm a bit nervous talking to myself here in the Piazza del Campo. Just to show you that there's some vigili up there, some policemen and women who are always patrolling the city to make sure that we're, that everyone's doing the right thing. I also see some children behind me getting ready to chase some pigeons. That's good because the pigeons are not following social distancing rules. I have noticed that. So I'll stop it here. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna try and do some more things online to try and bring Italia to you wherever you may be. Maybe we can do some Italian lessons. Oh, ciao Stacey, thank you, thank you. You know, and also another thing that we guides have been talking about, Stacey and I have a wonderful friend called Sarah Murdoch. Please follow her, Adventures with Sarah. She's on Facebook, of course. And the idea of us guides joining together, and maybe you, if you're, you know, you're home, you can't travel much within your own state or your own country until this COVID-19 thing passes, but we can all support each other as guides. We can take a guided tour today of Siena, tomorrow Florence, then maybe, I don't know, Paris, and then Montreal. We could go everywhere. Dallas, wouldn't you love to take a tour of Dallas? But now we have to think of tourism in a slightly different way. We can do a lot more traveling from our computers, and that way when we finally can travel, when we finally can get to our dream locations, we can be even more prepared because we've seen these images of these magnificent buildings, and it's wonderful to see a live video or a picture, but it's entirely another thing to be watching little children chasing pigeons, hearing people, hearing the Italian, and maybe understanding a word or two. Travel may be paused for now, but it will come back. So, oh, thank you so much, Shinta. I'm glad you can hear well. I'm sorry it's not as, you know, it's not a really nice looking microphone, but I'm glad that it worked. So keep those travel dreams alive. I will keep my tour guide dreams alive and hope that I can do them. Oh, thank you. Oh, your parents are awesome, Eric. So hello to Elaine and Butch as well. Thank you everybody for following, and please feel free to leave comments afterwards if you have any advice or if you have any requests of places you might like to go together with me. Okay, signing off. Oh, I was going to kiss you, but I can't. I have a mask on. So virtual kisses and hugs to everyone. Ciao. I don't know how to stop this. Oh, there we go.